I love arcade games. Growing up by the beach introduced me to so many, from Bubble Bobble to the Simpsons arcade game, Outrun to Daytona USA, Point Blank to Time Crisis. I played loads of them. The quick jump in and out gameplay loop just appealed to me. Sure, they were rock hard, they wanted your hard-earned cash and by God they were going to get it, but they were fun. They were quirky. You wouldn't get this experience at home, you could only get it in arcades for a good amount of time. However, due to the changing video game landscape, arcades are something of a novelty now. They are still usually found around the seasides, at least in the UK anyway, but less and less space is being dedicated to the video game side of the arcade experience. Instead, these are usually replaced with token games. Games that you play to earn a certain amount of tokens to hand in for prizes. Nowadays, if I want my classic arcade game fix, I usually have to resort to emulators like MAME or re-releases, which just doesn't feel the same. One arcade game which has always eluded me was first shown to me in Sonic Jam. A Sonic Arcade game? What is this? Who are these two other characters? What on earth is a tracker ball? For years, this game has been one I've always wanted to try out, and now, thanks to MAME, I can. So, let's take a gander at Sega Sonic Arcade, and finally scratch that itch that has been pestering me for the last 20 so years. First of all, let's tackle the reason why it's called Sega Sonic Arcade. At the time this game was made, Sega couldn't use the Sonic name on its own because they lost the trademark. Thankfully this was soon rectified, so future Sonic Arcade games didn't need to slap the word Sega at the front. Sega Sonic the Fighters, anyone? Just by first appearances, this game looks fantastic. It was made by the talented people over at Sega AM3, also known as Hitmaker. Now, just to put into context how talented these people are, a few years later, they would eventually make Sega Rally. If you grew up around arcades like I did, Sega Rally was basically the cornerstone of any major arcade place at the time, inspiring game devs even now. I guess the name Hitmaker fits, since all they seem to be making are certified hits. Sega Sonic runs on the Sega System 32 board, which also housed some other great arcade games like Golden Axe and Jurassic Park. And you can see that they made good use out of the board. Colours pop and there's quite a lot of moving parts on the screen at once. The music and sounds are also very clear, and along with this, each character has unique animations that are tied just to them. Overall, just by first impressions alone, the game comes off incredibly strong. Looking at the footage, you're probably noticing how I can't seem to control these characters to save my life. Well, that's because this game is controlled by a tracker ball. That's right, to move any of the three characters around, you need to roll this ball. The faster you roll the ball, the faster you move in game. This, paired with the isometric viewpoint, creates a very unique game feel. You can try to emulate the tracker ball using an analog stick. This is basically what I did to collect footage, but in doing so, I feel like you're not getting the full gameplay experience. There's also one button that's used in the game, and that is to jump. All in all, it's a very simple control scheme. A lot of the complexity comes from the tracker ball, to the point that without this tracker ball, the game wouldn't have been made. This was Sega's third attempt at making a Sonic Arcade game because, and I quote from Wikipedia, they were not the specialness that Sonic was. So yeah, the tracker ball is integral to the game's overall design. So let's take a look at the game itself. When starting off the game, you can pick between three characters. You have Sonic, the poster child, but he's also joined by Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel. According to the character designer, they chose these species because they thought they would control similar to how a hedgehog would. And on top of that, they were also quite obscure. Long-term fans of the franchise might recognise Mighty, as he also appeared in Knuckles Chaotix, but fans would not see Ray until he reappeared with Mighty in Sonic Mania Plus. I'm glad that Sega remembered these characters exist because I really dig their designs. Mighty has this cool aura about him while Ray is just happy to be here. Look at that smile. Not a single thought's going on between those eyes. Each character plays the exact same, so basically all you're picking is what voice do you want to hear while playing the game, because each of these characters have their own distinct voice and animations to go along with it. In fact, this is one of the first times that Sonic has had a voice in a game. Going back to the animations though, I just love how expressive each of these characters are while playing the game. You really get a sense that they just want to go home, they are done, as they run away from trap to trap. The bonus at the end also shows them either borderline depressed or really damn happy depending on how well you do. So yeah, it does feel like the developers had a lot of fun with what they could get away with, letting the animators really show off their skills. These animations are paired quite well with some downright devious level design. The game has the players running away from whatever trap Eggman has in store for them. These range from fires sprouting up from beneath the ground, rolling gears chasing the player, a sand-filled tornado, and my personal favourite, some downright Looney Tunes-esque fake wall. You can tell that it's an arcade game. Since you're constantly moving, you don't have time to plan ahead when you see a new obstacle. The game trying to catch you out so it can eat up as much money from you as it can. But after repeat playthroughs, you can get through these relatively quickly. You'll go from a fire-filled prison to an icy cold cave, a sandy desert to a trap-filled tower, crumbling cliffs to Eggman's boat before finally climbing Eggman's signature tower, confronting the big man himself, and, well, he sets the self-destruct button and runs away like a coward. So there's no final boss. Instead, you're making a mad dash to the exit before time runs out. And you better make it out before the timer expires, because if you don't, well, your game just ends then and there. Good attempt, try again. But if you do make it out, you get to see the ending. Our three heroes make it out of the exploding tower, and Eggman gets hit with karma. And then you're thrust back into the start screen, ready to do it all again. Maybe this time with friends. Yes, that's right, this game has co-op. You, along with two buddies, can go through the whole game together, working with each other to go to the end. Or you can hinder them. Since rings heal you and you'll be taking a lot of damage, it could be a mad dash to try and collect all the rings first so you have the most health. So it can be a bit chaotic, both visually and audibly, since the characters like to make noise no matter what they're doing. But man, I just love the chaotic nature of it all. I can imagine this would be a lot of fun with two other like-minded friends, just trying your best seeing how far you can get on just one life. This re-release with some online play would go really hard, I think. And apparently, I'm not the only one who thinks this. People have been asking for Sega to re-release this game. Granted, it's not a large amount in the fanbase, but the ones who have played it all think that it deserves another shot in the sun. It also reviewed really well at the time. Reviews across the board were very positive about this game. It was the 6th most popular table arcade unit in Japan at the time it was released, and Electronic Gaming Monthly gave it a 10 out of 10. They were quoted saying it shatters your perception of what a good game should be, praising its music and visuals along with the character animations. Despite all of this though, this game is yet to see a re-release in any way, shape or form. Unlike Sonic the Fighters, this game only reached a very small amount of people due to its very limited arcade run, only being shown in Japan and some areas in Europe. Other than those two areas, it wasn't wildly available. Even now, it's an incredibly rare sight to see. I myself have never seen one out in the wild before, which is a damn shame. This game deserves to be shown off. It's a great arcade game. Sure, the controls do take some getting used to, but I'm sure once you start playing it, the controls will soon seem second nature. There were some rumours of a 32X port of this game being in early development. That would make sense since the 32X is based off the System 32 board, but I would imagine due to the disappointing sales of the 32X, Sega quietly shelved this project. On top of this, it was also supposed to be added to Sonic Gems collection, but difficulties translated the controls from trackable to analog stick proved difficult for them to do. And I can understand that. Even with all my tweaking, I could not figure out how to get the game to play in a way that feels natural. But I'm sure if they kept at it, they might have been able to figure out something. It would have fit in really well between Sonic CD, Sonic the Fighters and Sonic R, introducing the newer fans to Sega's arcade heritage. There were also rumours that they would have looked into re-releasing it as part of the Sega Ages lineup of games that came out on the Switch. But at this point, it's not looking likely, since the last Sega Ages release was in 2020. I'm just hoping that the Arcade Archives team will pick it up. a man can dream. This game needs to be re-released somehow. Justice for Ray. Hi, thanks for watching the video, I do greatly appreciate it. If you like this video and want to stick around for more, please consider subscribing. And if you want some more Sonic goodness, I made this video going over Sonic R. It's a beautiful mess and I still love it. Alternatively, my most recent video was going over Jumping Flash 2, which is also another fantastic game. And if you want to hear more of my ramblings, I am also on Blue Sky and Twitter. I refuse to call it X no matter how much time passes. And yeah. That's it from me. Have a fantastic day and I'll see you next time. Ciao.